Yes, I can. Today we're going to be talking about why bad things happen to good people. The Bible tells us in Ecclesiastes chapter 9, verse 11, I return to see under the sun that the swift do not have the race, nor the mighty over the battle, nor do the wise also have the food, nor do the understanding ones have the riches, nor do even those having knowledge have the favor, because time and unforeseen occurrences fall before them all. This is one of the many scriptures helps us explain this. Today we would discuss 7 additional examples. Why do bad things happen to good people? 2 Corinthians 11:24 through 27 has us see the suffering that Paul has been through. It reads, 5 times I received from the Jews the 40 lashes minus 1. 3 times I was beaten with rods. Once I was pelted with stones. 3 times I was shipwrecked. I spent a night and a day in the open sea. I've been constantly on the move. I've been in danger from rivers, in danger from bandits, in danger from my fellow Jews, in danger from Gentiles, in danger from the city, in danger in the country, in danger at sea, and in danger from false believers. I have labored and toiled, and often gone without sleep. I have known hunger and thirst, and I've often gone without food. I've been cold and naked. As we read these verses, we ask, if God is in control, and He is, and if God is all-powerful, and He is, why does He let all this happen to Paul? If God is in control, why do bad things happen to good people? My Uncle Dell died a few years ago from cancer. He was a good, caring man with a daughter that he loved. Most would say he was too young to die. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, and he didn't cause trouble. He was just a man who loved, that was family-oriented and kind. So why did my uncle die? God is in control. Why do bad things happen to good people? I don't know the mind of God. I cannot share His reasons. But this morning I would like to share with you 7 reasons from the Bible why bad things happen to good people. Number 1, bad things happen to good people because we live in a fallen world. In Genesis, a man and a woman lived in the Garden of Eden. They lived in paradise. There was no pain, no suffering, no heartache, and no death. Then Adam and Eve sinned. Because of their sin, the whole world was cursed. Death, loneliness, sickness, and pain, and disease we endure today all come because of man's sin. People ask, how could a loving God let people get sick? How could He allow cancer, the sickness and disease we endure today, the hurricanes and tornadoes, the droughts and floods, the struggle at work, and in the pain in childbirth, all come as a result of man's sin. They broke it. The world is not like how God created it. My old cell phone has a giant crack through the screen. Though I would like to blame God for this, that way maybe I wouldn't have received a lecture from my parents. Not from my mom. She's cool. From my dad. The reality is I dropped it twice. At the end of the day, it was my fault. Why do bad things happen to good people? They happen because we live in a fallen world. Number 2, bad things happen to good people because of sins of others. If you remember, King David had committed adultery with Uriah's wife, and she became pregnant. When David found out, he tried to cover his tracks by having his faithful soldier, Uriah, come back from the battlefield. David welcomed him and sent him home to be with his wife, thinking Uriah would sleep with his wife and then not know he wasn't the father. But Uriah didn't go home and sleep at home. He would not enjoy the pleasure of the roof over his head and his wife's company when his fellow soldiers were still on the battlefield while the Ark of Covenant was still there as well. Was there ever a more innocent and committed man than Uriah? Since his first plan failed, David had Uriah killed to cover his tracks. Bad things often happen to good people because of the sins of others. Families go without food because their fathers are addicted to gambling, drugs, or alcohol. Think of the innocent who are killed each year because others were driving drunk. Think of the people killed during terrorist attacks throughout the world. Bad things happen to good people because of the sins of others. Number 3, bad things happen to good people who teach and prepare us. Goliath would go out every day and stand in front of the Israelites and challenge them to a fight. Every day the soldiers would tremble with fear. Then one day a boy came forward and offered to fight Goliath. When the king Saul heard about the boy's offer, he called David in and told him he was too young and inexperienced to fight the giant. David told him, I have already fought a lion and a bear. God protected me then, and he will protect me now. I imagine there were times as he watched the sheep that young David wondered why God didn't protect him, and the sheep attacks from those wild animals. I imagine he had trouble understanding why God allowed these problems to keep coming his way. Little did he realize that God was preparing him for an even bigger challenge later, when God would use him to destroy Israel's greatest enemy. The lion and the bear were only part of God's boot camp, designed to prepare David for bigger challenges later. My friend, God sometimes allows bad things to come your way, so you will be equipped to work in bigger ways later. Number 4, bad things happen to good people to bring glory to God. In the book of Job, God and Satan spoke. God basically told Satan that he could try to sway Job from his faith, as long as he didn't lay a hand on him. Satan threw everything he had at Job. He had taken Job's livestock from him, he had burned his sheep and servants, and he had killed Job's sons and daughters. Even after all this, Job never swayed and continued to praise the name of the Lord. We need to realize and get over the idea that God exists for us, and remember, we exist for him. Bad things happen to good people. Number 5, bad things happen to good people to remind us to trust in God. I know most of you look at me as a smart kid. Some would even say I'm a genius. But recently, I may have or not, thought I didn't need help with my studying. I let this go on for a while and realized that maybe this wasn't going the exactly way I planned it. Maybe need some parental intervention. It is easy for us to begin to feel self-sufficient. It is mighty easy for us to believe we need nothing and no one until disaster comes our way. It is then, when we can no longer handle things ourselves, that we often find ourselves forced to turn to God we've ignored. It is often then that we begin to pray with words we really mean. Sometimes God allows bad things to happen to good people to remind us to trust in him. It is easy to talk about how great God is. It is easy to talk about how we trust him. But it is only when we have nowhere else to turn that we begin to mean what we say. Number 6, bad things happen to good people to help other people. Why do bad things happen to good people? Sometimes they happen so other people can be helped. My great-grandpa Bryce and I were close. I was young when he died, but his death had a silver lining. One day when I was in my car seat driving, let me pause for a second. This is my parents' account. I did mention I was young during the story. As we were driving, my dad could hear me talking in the back seat. Actually, just not talking. I was having a conversation with God, asking him to watch over my grandfather because he was a friend of mine. My dad tells me this event secured his faith in the Lord. How do people respond to bad? Number 7, bad things happen to good people to remind us that we're not home yet. John 16:33 says, "You will have suffering in this world. This world is only the opening act." We need to know that Jesus is preparing a place for us. Of my friends, we are not home yet. The place we are going has no pain, it has no suffering, and it has no separation, and there are no tears. The place we are headed has streets of gold, gates of jewels, and joy. We are not home yet. This place is not even a pale shadow of what God is waiting for us. There is a better place waiting for us. But in this world, bad things will happen to good people. Now, one question remains to be answered. When bad things happen to good people, how do God's people respond? How do good people respond to bad things? Number 1, trust in God. When pain and trouble comes our way, the first thing we need to do is remember that God is in control, then trust him. Number 2, remembering God's love. Remember that God loves you more than you can imagine. Number 3, looking ahead. 1 Corinthians 2 verse 9 says, "Eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, neither have entered into heart of man the things which God hath prepared for them that love him." Something better is coming. Think of the home that's waiting. It only gets better from here. There's an old story of the preacher who went to visit an elderly woman from the church. Just hours before she passed away, as he leaned over her bed, she whispered something in his ear. The lady later passed away. Those who attended the funeral were surprised to discover that the woman had in her casket a spoon grasped in her hands. When the preacher stood to preach at the funeral, he explained, "Shortly before our dear sister passed, she made a special request. She asked me to place a spoon upon in her casket with her. She asked me to explain. You see, when she was growing up, at the end of each evening meal, as the dishes were being cleared away, her mother always told the children to hang on to their spoons because something better was coming. Our sister wanted to be buried with her spoon, but she wants you to know, to remember, in the midst of your trials, in the midst of your struggles and pain, that something better is coming." Let's pray. Lord, we don't have the answers for everything. Actually, we don't have the answers to most things. We need to realize that you are the answer. You have the plan, and that is what we need to know. We trust you in the path that you lead us down. No matter what lies in front of us, you have the plan. We need to know that we are preparing for something better, something glorious. And in this world, we praise you and trust in you. You have a plan. In Jesus' name, we pray.